In the early 1950s, while Japan was still rebuilding from the horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, movie studio Toho, still bound by very strict media censorship imposed by the Americans about the depiction of war, producer Tomonuki Tanaka went to Indonesia to try and create a Japanese-Indonesian co-production film called In the Shadow of Glory. This movie was supposed to be a first stepping stone into rebuilding relationships between Indonesia and Japan. However, when he landed in the country's capital, anti-Japanese sentiment after the Japanese occupation of the country was so great that his visa was pulled and he was not allowed to enter the country. However, because of this, on the flight back while looking out into the ocean, Tomonuki Tanaka came up with the idea for what would be his magnum opus. Godzilla. The film became a landmark of Japanese cinema, and now over 64 years and 33 movies later, Godzilla is still a worldwide icon. Like James Bond, I can't think of another movie franchise that has adapted with the times as well as Godzilla has. And, well, being my favourite franchise, and the fact that I promised when I hit 10,000 subscribers I would count down every single movie to date, and well, since that's happened, it's time to start this countdown, so come and join me over the coming weeks as I count down every single Godzilla movie, yes, every single one. That is 55 hours worth of film I've got to go over, starting from the lowest of the lows and ending on my personal number one favourite Godzilla movie. One of the questions I keep being asked most is, why do I love Godzilla so much? Well, honestly, it's one of the few film franchises that is for everyone. If you think about it, there is a Godzilla movie for everyone. It goes dark and serious, to goofy and comical, to just balls to the wall insane. You name it, Godzilla has probably done it. From Hollywood action movie, to science fiction, to weird art house movie. Godzilla has a movie that can fit into anything, and, well, 99% of the time they're always entertaining and never boring. From being actual genuine good movies to just flat out insane and just hilarious to watch. Godzilla is for everyone, and that's why I love it so much. So to thank you all for your support, you finally get to know my thoughts on every single Godzilla movie. Now, all those positive things I just said, forget all of them as we start off at the bottom of the list with the worst of the worst. Number 33. Godzilla's Revenge. Oh, okay, let's just get this one over with. Yeah, who didn't see this one coming? It is by far the worst Godzilla movie ever made. It feels more like a bad Gamera movie more than a Godzilla movie. The main character is a nerdy, annoying kid who loves everything about Godzilla. Woo! Breaking new ground there. This movie is just so bad. And making Manila the main focus of the movie, and also making him talk, is basically like turning him into Scrappy-Doo of the Godzilla franchise. We don't want to see Godzilla's crappy little offspring, we want to see the big guy himself. And the 90% of the time we do see Godzilla, it is in stock footage that we have already seen. And yes, there is the theory that this movie is technically non-canon because in this movie universe, Godzilla is a film character and the kid is just a fan of all the films, but it still doesn't excuse how much of a bad movie this is. And also, it's not really much of an excuse for the use of stock footage. Really, if you think about it, yes, you could put a actual explanation towards it, but the real explanation for why there's so much stock footage is because this is a very cheap movie. And you've also got the annoying kid dreaming about the worst Godzilla monster and worst Godzilla villain, Gamera, who came back in the prequel book to Godzilla Planet of the Monsters, where they made him as pathetic as he deserved to be, because this is just a pathetic, weak villain with one of the most useless powers when you come to think about it. And the fact that if you honestly think about how people complain that Godzilla is basically just guys in rubber suits, This is the most guy in rubber suit looking kaiju that Godzilla has ever had. And then when you come down to it, this isn't even a Godzilla movie, it's the kids dreaming about a Godzilla movie. The final act of the movie focuses on a Home Alone style ending with two robbers. Then Godzilla doesn't appear in the last 20 minutes of this movie. What was his revenge? What was it all about? I know Toho wanted to take Godzilla in a more kid-friendly direction, but they forgot what it was about Godzilla that got him so popular. We wanted to see him as a hero, yes, but we didn't want to see his crappy little kid doing, stand up to bullies and all that sort of stuff movies. No, we want to see Godzilla fighting giant monsters. And with no annoying kids, because this is also the worst human character in all Godzilla movies, because he is the most annoying little kid ever, and I find myself siding with the bullies on this one and why they bully him, because he is just that annoying. And I'm going to go back to the sheer level of stock footage because it's damn near unacceptable. You know when a TV show has to have a clip show episode? Well, that's this whole movie. Anytime that there's a kaiju on the screen that has been in a past movie, you bet you that's not going to be new footage, that's stock footage. Let's see, you got Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, King Kong Escapes, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. There's damn near every Godzilla movie in this movie. Yeah, this whole movie is, well, basically, if you want to point at a movie and blame it for the downfall of the Showa era, well, blame this movie. It is hands down the worst Godzilla movie ever made. Number 32. Godzilla 1998. Okay, so I know some people like this movie because, they don't look at it as a Godzilla movie, but even when I don't look at it as a Godzilla movie, I still hate this movie because it's just another Roland Emmerich Ain't America Great Jerk-Off movie. It's such an Emmerich movie, it has so many of his tropes. The cast of thousands upon thousands of characters, the stereotyping, the American ass-kissing, the quirky comic relief stereotype, and the forced romance story. I mean, there is just so much wasted opportunity in this movie. And speaking of wasted opportunity, the wasted Siskel and Ebert parody characters, where they just basically, Emmerich just put these two in the movie because Siskel and Ebert didn't like all his other movies. It sort of just comes off as a kind of an insult, and, well, won't you know, Siskel and Ebert hated this movie too. And this was just before Siskel died as well, which just makes it even more insulting when you come to think about it. And if you can actually have these parody characters, why don't you do something with them? If you come to think about it, these two could be completely removed from the movie and nothing would happen. Godzilla doesn't even really interact with them. And even they point out themselves, what if you're gonna put us in the movie for a criticism, have Godzilla step on us, have Godzilla eat us or something. But no, he doesn't do that. They're just there. Completely removing them, well, you can basically completely remove half the characters in this movie and nothing would change. And let's get into Godzilla. Okay, well, Zilla. And while I have said in the past I do like this design, when it's not Godzilla, I can't say it makes this movie much better because, well, it was marketed and sold as a Godzilla movie and they don't get anything right about him. He's not indestructible, he can't even breathe fire, and, he's supposed to fight another kaiju or something like that. Or be, if he's solo, be a symbol for something, or prove how nature can always triumph anything what humanity comes at. Godzilla doesn't really feel like a force of nature in this movie, he just feels like an animal that stumbled into the wrong place. Also, let's get into how Godzilla's babies, well, the baby Godzillas, are basically just complete rip-offs of Jurassic Park and the Velociraptor stuff. There's no other excuse for that because Emmerich clearly wanted to make his Jurassic Park. He didn't want to make a Godzilla movie, he just wanted to make a America Great Jurassic Park movie, and yeah, he just completely missed the point and just wanted to kiss America's ass again. Oh, and yes, the acting is atrocious. Matthew Broderick basically just plays Matthew Broderick, that girl that is, well, this movie killed her career. I can't even remember her name, and it killed her career for a reason because she is horrible in this movie. And for some reason this movie also has half the Simpsons cast in it. And they're the only actors who actually give a good performance in this movie. This movie sucks. Number 31. Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle. Okay, yeah, this is the most recent Godzilla movie at the time of this video, so it's the freshest in my head, and While my position on it might change later, there's no beating around the bush. This movie sucked. I used to say that every Godzilla movie was entertaining, from either being really good or just laughably bad. But until now, I can't say that anymore because this movie is so boring. What a wasted opportunity. I didn't mind Planet of the Monsters because I thought it was some good setup for the next two movies to work on. But when it comes down to it, City on the Edge of Battle is basically the same movie as Planet of Monsters. Think about it, 2/3 of this movie is just setup and the last 10 minutes are Godzilla at the end who just shows up. Also, whose idea was it in the marketing to tease the crap out of it being Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and then when you come down to the actual movie, not use Mechagodzilla at all? He doesn't even turn on, they basically just use him to make a city. Talk about false advertising. I mean, yeah, it was advertised as Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and instead it's Godzilla versus a city and some robots that were just slightly upgraded from the first movie. Oh, it's a fresh idea. How about Godzilla fights a city, unlike damn near every Godzilla movie where he trashes a city? So different. The more and more I think about it, the more and more this trilogy just disappoints me so much. And yes, the next movie is going to feature King Ghidorah, but from what they've been doing recently and the teaser image for King Ghidorah, I'm just expecting King Ghidorah to be a Rise of the Silver Surfer Galactus-style fart cloud. The more you read the prequel novel to Planet of the Monsters, the more you realise that would have made a better trilogy than the one we're actually getting. I mean, what is there to say? This anime is so boring. The characters are basically boring cardboard cutouts of every single anime trope character we have ever seen. The emotionless leader who has had a dark past, so that means he can be an absolute emotionless dick to everyone around him. Female who's only there to be the romantic interest of the main lead, even when he's just a complete dick to her. And also the old wise sage man who's there basically to, pass on wisdom to our dick main character. And also the other miscellaneous characters. There is just so much wasted opportunity in this movie, in this franchise, in this trilogy. You have Godzilla and a planet where the kaijus won. That would have been amazing, especially when they've been teasing like all these past monsters were coming back, but no, they didn't come back. They all died in the prequel book, so it's just Godzilla and these just anime slug bat things that... Ugh. The one good thing I can say about this movie is that the animation is good. That's it. This was such a great idea wasted, and the fact that this movie completely bombed in the theatres in Japan and critical and fan reception have just been so negative towards it really makes me worry that Toho aren't going to try to make another Godzilla anime when Godzilla is primed for a good anime adaptation, but this might just put them off doing one for a very long time, which they shouldn't, because this is a great idea. Godzilla is perfect to make an anime series out of. Just not this. Not this wasted opportunity. So the countdown has begun. That was 33 to 31. Let me know in the comments below what you would put in those same spots. And if you want to see the next countdown from 30 to 26 a little earlier, then you can check out my Patreon in the description below. So I'm Alexthehunted and I will see you guys next week for 30 to 26.